How you guys doing? This is Andrew at FloryPB, and I haven't made a video in a little bit. Don't mind this big bastard right here. This is a video that's upcoming, in process right now. I decided to do something a little different with this. I had someone recently ask me, he said he bought an LCD, what are some good upgrades to get for that marker? So I was sitting there thinking, and I thought back at some of the markers I've finished for people and some of the problems they've had using an older Angel with modern equipment. And just, I want to put together just an overview spanning each generation of Angels that I like using, and just going through them real quick, real quick, down and dirty, but I want to say what kind of tank they need to use, what kind of accessories they can have, all that kind of shit, or what's going to actually make a difference. So we're going to start first with the LEDs. This is an Eclipse LED, doesn't matter, but any LED Angel, your on-off button's right here, obviously. Lights in the back makes an LED. They came factory with a metric threaded regulator for the HPR. So you have to get a different thing. They called this a crack pipe back then, this piece here. If you want to use a different regulator than the stock one, you need to get a different crack pipe on it to use a different reg besides a mini reg. That kind of holds it back in a way, because mini regs kind of are terrible. Not even kind of terrible, they are legitimately terrible. Especially the oldest ones are very terrible. But you need a mini reg. That's the only real... Sorry, this is coming off a little crappy to start, but the regulator is really the only upgrade you can truly do to an Angel that's going to make it perform better. And if I had to pick a reg, just a standard reg that plugs in, screws in any Angel, really look at like a Dye Hyper 2. That's a very solid regulator. I've done some testing on it, and it's actually a money regulator how it operates. And that was back when Dye was making shit in America, I'm pretty sure. And like it's just a pretty high quality reg, and they're dirt cheap, super cheap. It's very similar to like an AKA Sidewinder, especially internally, but it's just so much cheaper. You're not paying that AKA premium for it. So if you have an older Angel that can accept it, you can find a crack pipe, and you want to actually upgrade the function of the gun, just pick up Dye Hyper 2 and a crack pipe, and that works. Don't bother with volumizers, really. The other upgrade you can always do is a barrel. Get something that fits and bore matches better, and that's always going to help you. The old Angel barrels are pretty big bore. And it's just Angel threaded, traditional Angel thread, the long stack threads. Coarse threads, long shank on it. You see them everywhere. They are dirt cheap as well. Besides that, either do a 9-volt board or a new battery, just to get it running correctly. And the air source. These are older Angels. These are high pressure Angels. They need an 800 PSI tank plugged into them, or they're not going to shoot up to velocity. You just really can't make them shoot up to velocity without that. That's one of the biggest issues I see, because most tanks you buy now, especially if you buy like a Ninja tank, I believe they're around 600, 650 PSI coming out stock, which is absolutely fine for modern markers. But for these older guys, they need that high pressure tank. You need to put the extra shims in it to actually make it shoot correctly. And that's the biggest issue that I see from people that get these just to play with them, because their tanks aren't compatible with their setup. So we'll move on from the LED, and we'll switch up to the granddaddy, the Angel LCD. Now these, same deal. This regulator, direct replacement if you want to upgrade the marker. It's not going to look as nice. It's a trade-off. Do you want it to look really cool playing with it? Probably at this point, because you're not really using this in a competition setting for the most part, or one that matters to you too much. So you want to keep the mini ray for that, but if you want to actually upgrade and make the marker to shoot better, more consistent, faster, well, just more consistent as it shoots fast, you won't get shoot down when you're shooting quick with it. If you're even shooting quick with it, it's get a Hyper 2 or any regulator that doesn't say ICD on it is going to be better than this regulator. So that's the only real thing. Barrels, again, it's a high pressure Angel, so get a high pressure tank for it. It's just like the LED. The other thing I didn't talk about the LED, but I'll talk about both of them. They're all Angel threaded feed necks, which is sort of like ion threads, but not. Get a proper Angel threaded clamping feed neck. That's always a luxury benefit for you. And the hopper to use these with, don't get eyes, don't even bother with it. A hopper's a rotor. Use a rotor with these, it's going to just change the game for you. It's so much better. And I like the nostalgia. I mean, you can always use an old school Revy. That's always a cool hopper to use as long as you're just plunking around. But I love the nostalgia of the markers. But I hate the idea of breaking painting it and ruining my fucking day. So you get a rotor, and yeah, they might jam up sometimes on you. Mine constantly jams on me. I really don't even... I only have this rotor to play with angels because I use spires for my other markers. But the spire doesn't feed the angel fast enough. The rotor feeds the angel perfectly fast. It's not too hard to push past the ball detents, which is a big problem with like the older halos and stuff like that. So it's not going to push the paint past the ball detent. It's going to give you the best bang for your buck as far as trying to shoot an old angel that doesn't have eyes, and you don't need to worry about it. Get a rotor, and it just solves your hopper problem. Or get a Revy and play that old school style where you're just plunking single finger. That's cool too if that's what you're planning on doing with it. And yeah, same deal, 800 PSI tank minimum in these guys. We'll move on from them to the last of the high pressure angels, the IR3 line. IR3 line is, they shortened up the RAM a little bit from the LCD line, but besides that, it's the same marker, and they give you the 90 frame on it. Same reg, same issue, same deal. It comes off. This one doesn't right now, but it comes off. Same standard threading. You can put any standard regulator on it that you want. Barrels, feed necks, same deal. Angel threaded this, angel threaded that. Nothing different, nothing crazy with these. And same 800 PSI tank you want on it. And that's an IR3. Good thing with the IR3 is if you find them with the screens that work, the screens are interchangeable from IR3 up until G7 Fly. So the screens are interchangeable. There is more screens. I mean, there's not a lot of screens available, but there's more IR3 plus screens available than LCD screens. Also, the LCD boards have a tendency to die a lot easier than like the IR3 boards do and onwards. So that's a little bit of a perk. Give you a little more redundancy to play with the stock equipment than the LCD. That's the only thing with the LCD. But those electronics are 19 years old now, almost 20 years old. So how much can you expect out of them? Moving on from there. Oh, additionally, the IR3 is the first angel that locked down the board to be semi-only. The LED had some firing modes, and the LCD had a bunch of firing modes. You can unlock them with the little kit to really unlock it. They're all useless, but they're just, I guess, neat to have. Or whatever. Let's pull that one out real quick. Another LED. Let's go back real quick. Clamping feed neck. A barrel with sizers. Useless. This is an old air mod on it to try to use the exhaust gas off the solenoid to push paint down the feed neck. This will be connected to a feed neck. Useless need. Just get a rotor. Makes that absolutely a not necessary thing. So we'll move on to the first of the low pressure angels. The 04 speeds, or 03 speeds, whatever you like to call them. I call them 04 speeds. Same deal. Board was an LED board. Only angels are the speeds that have LED boards in them. This reg looks like a mini reg, plugs in like a mini reg. The spring stack got changed in a little bit to change the pressure range it works on. These work on tanks that are like 600 PSI. So like a Ninja stock tank works great on this generation and up. And same deal. These benefit a little more if you would like. Because they have the longer breech opening, if you can find a soft face bolt to replace this bolt, that's a useful upgrade. Because it pushes the ball further into the breech. The other thing with these, this also have Sensi, which is the COPS thing that the IR3 had, but Sensi is self-calibrating. So it actually, if you read the manual real quick and you actually use it, it actually works. Not incredibly well, but it does work a lot better than the IR3 did, which needed to be calibrated manually. This calibrates automatically, take 3 shots, and it actually functions correctly. If you're using a slower hopper like a Spire, you can get away with that, and you're going to have a pretty you're not going to really fear blowing a ball up that day just playing with it because of the Sensi. And it does work. Not as good as eyes. I'd still just use a rotor on it. But yeah, these will take a 600 PSI tank instead of the 800 PSI tanks. And same clamping feed neck, angel threaded. Same angel threaded barrel on them. Everything else is the same about it. The batteries are reduced. All the batteries on the Angels prior to this are 6-volt batteries, so there's 5 cells in the battery. Because they moved the LPR to this side to make the bigger low pressure chamber on this side of it, they moved the LPR over here. They had to reduce a cell in the battery, so these only have 4.8-volt batteries, 4-cell batteries here, instead of the 6-volt battery of the older Angel, which is, it's fine. It's just, you know, what it is. And you can make packs either way. It's not really a detriment to anything. Technically, these batteries are slightly cheaper by a few dollars because you have one less cell in them. But yeah, that's it with the 04 Speed. I'm trying to be relatively not too long with this video. From the 04 Speed, we got the A4, which came out just a little bit after it with a higher end model. Had the LCD board on it. This one doesn't. This is a Master Tech version of it. But same deal. You can replace the reg. Same standard reg on them. Sits a little low and goofy, but same standard threaded, half-inch NPT reg, or NPS reg technically. But same reg, you can replace something better if you want a little more performance out of it. This also had Sensi on it because it's the non-eyed A4, not the A4 Fly. And yeah, exactly. RAM's different. Things are a little different on this than the 04 Speed. The 04 Speed was pretty similar to the IR3. This had a tiny bit of variance to it, nothing crazy. The weirdo gauge back here that lasted just this generation, and that's all it ever did. Because it was a pain in the ass to try to use anyway, even if we were going to use it. And yeah, added the veneer wheels. Great triggers. You get an older Angel with a trigger. They were some pretty cool triggers. The G7s and the 06 Speeds, they really, really made those better. But those were the best triggers in paintball, honestly. But these are really damn good triggers. And yeah, it's not bad. These are cool markers. And yeah, same upgrade path. 600 PSI tank works great with these. And that would be the A4. Rechargeable battery, 4.8 volts, everything like that's still the same. This grody bastard out. See, I collect these misfit destroyed Angels mostly for parts. Some of these things are, or I'll restore some of them in the future. This one's a parts Angel, I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'll resto it if I get challenged, I guess. This is a mess, but A4 Fly, just like the A4, except this has the first Angel with eyes from the factory. Makes it so now you can use a Spire with this without worrying about it. You can use whatever you want. Or if the eyes break, you don't want to spend 50 bucks and you already have a rotor, just throw the rotor on. It's still going to be fine. But very upgradable. Only thing you really need is a barrel on this and a reg. If you want that max performance, you get the reg. If not, just use a barrel that's paint matched. You're just going to have a better day of play with that. These came stock with the soft face bolts. The A4s didn't at first, but I think they eventually got them to stock. I'm not sure about the A4s, but these came stock with the soft face bolt. So ditto to the 04 Speed. If you have an A4 that has a regular bolt, you can get minor benefits with a soft face bolt just because it pushes the ball a little more forward in the breech to center it up. It's not going to be a huge deal unless you're really blowing paint up. But, you know, if it's cheap or free, just do the upgrade. It's not bad. It's not bad at all to do. And yeah, the only thing I don't like about these, from the 04 to this generation, they switched the ball detents from being pure ball detents that like the older Angels, which were threaded in detents. For example, like the IR3 ball detent. This is actually a ball that has a spring behind it. So it doesn't just go in and out, it also spins. So when the bolt passes it, it spins as it pushes it in. And what that does, it really saves the ball. So you can get nearly a lifetime out of these. The spring wears out before anything else wears out on these things. So you can get nearly a lifetime of a ball detent like that. Where these, it's just a plunger detent. Because it's stuck in a thing where the ball is, it's not a full ball, it's a half ball and it's captured. So it can only go in and out. And what happens eventually is you shoot this thing a ton. I just worked on an Angel where the guy shot the thing a ton. It actually wears the detent out. So you will eventually, if you shoot this a ton, have to replace the ball detent in it with a new one. Not a critical thing. But if your paint starts rolling out and you look down the barrel and it looks like you have two blown out ball detents, you have two blown out ball detents, you got to fix them. But they're still relatively good. I don't like rubber detents. I like real ball detents like these, especially the older ones were the best, but these are better than rubber to me because they always fail. That's what they're meant to do. But that's the A4 Fly, 600 PSI tank. Nothing's changed internally from the A4. Nothing's changed ever in the mini reg from the LED second gen to now. Nothing changed, minus the threading. LCD and on, it's the same fucking mini reg, minus the stack's been changed. And yeah, 600 PSI marker, same Angel threads. These are fucked. Same Angel barrel on it. After this came one of the most popular Angels, I feel, which is the 05 speed, which I think you've seen me, if you watch this channel, you see me work on this direct one. This same Angel barrel, this is where you cannot upgrade the regs unless you get a separate attachment like the old crack pipe was. Those are probably harder to find now than the crack pipes were because they're just not as popular of a marker as the old Angel LED was. But if you find one of those, you can put a different reg on it. If not, this mini reg looks so much different because it's a cartridge reg, but it's the same fucking mini reg in it as the LCD mini reg minus the stack changed in the 04. The 04 speed, I should say it's the same reg as the 04 speed reg. Nearly verbatim by size and everything. It's the same damn reg. This is where they started making literally their best trigger. This might be their best trigger that they had is on this and the G7 that followed. Because of the dual veneer, after the G7 they switched over to a single veneer wheel, which works really well. But the dual wheel I liked a little more, gave you a little more customization. Because this was back in the semi times when you had to shoot fast with your two fingers. And they switched over to two screws pushing down on a pin. And these triggers are just money. These are some of the best feeling triggers and frames ever made on any marker. In my opinion, best triggers ever. Like, they feel so great. It'd be nice if there was a micro switch, but I like the magnetic snap on it. It's a great trigger. Same thing, these came with soft face bolts in them. They have eyes, they got the detents just like the A4s, and everything past the A4s, same style detents on the A4 Flies. Angel threaded. 4.8, sorry, these came with the first 9-volt batteries in them. So the 04 speeds had the 4.8 volt battery, the A4s had the 4.8 volt battery, the A4 Flies had the 4.8 volt batteries. These came for 9 volt batteries, so you could put 9 volts in them. Great markers, super popular Angels. I've seen a lot of these. And honestly, this is one of the best Angels to pick up to just start playing with an Angel. Because again, 600 PSI, you can use it with any tank really. If you have a higher pressure tank, you got to switch the springs or the spring stack a little bit. Not really a big deal if you really want to, but majority of the tanks now aren't even 800 PSI. It's almost, I think, hard to find an 800 PSI stock tank. But great markers. I really enjoy these markers. And yeah, that's the 05 speed. Next, we go to the G7. G7 is just a little bit of an upgrade to it. Sleeker. Some of the sleekest looking Angels. This one's filthy. But I love the sleekness of the G7 series. And honestly, I like the G7 more than I like the G7 Fly for a few reasons. The G7 Flies are beautiful markers, but this has the last one with the dual veneers, the dual veneer wheels. The G7 Flies had the single veneer wheel, which you'll see that next. Has the old Angel barrels, so you don't need the weirdo barrel on it. Came with the soft face bolt, clamping feed neck, Angel style. These have never been great. They're not super strong threads or anything, but they used to be really available. I don't know. They're not too available anymore, but they came with clamping feed necks. Not the greatest clamping feed necks, but they came with clamping feed necks, screw downs. And yeah, these are some truly cool markers to play with. 600 PSI tank, you know, just like the other Angels there. And yeah, this is great. Again, you can replace this whole thing with a different crack pipe piece to put a different reg on if you really wanted to. But these were truly like, you just didn't upgrade these. There's nothing to really do. You can't even upgrade this side with a volumizer for no reason at all, because this holds the actual valve stem in, because the valve stem extends out to there. Really smooth valve transition in these. Real cool markers. These are especially smooth. Angels are not exactly kicky markers, especially the A4s and on. But these are exceptionally smooth for a poppet valve marker. They're definitely hefty, and you can definitely feel them shoot, but super smooth. I mean, this is some modern stuff, maybe not that kind of smooth you're used to, but real unique feel, real fun markers to shoot, and super fast. These triggers were ridiculously fast, and they probably bounced like motherfuckers, and you know, you just thought you were quicker, but doesn't matter. Great markers, not a whole lot of upgrades needed. Like I said, you could upgrade the reg. Barrels are easy to get. Angel barrels, cheap too. Not just easy, but cheap. Angel feed neck, if you want to change that, and that's it. And finally, I don't have an 06 speed anymore. I might still have one. I just don't know where the hell it is if I do. But I think I got rid of that. So let's go to its bigger brother, the G7 Fly. Beautiful looking marker. I love the way these look. They've always been one of my favorite factory markers as far as that goes. But they switched down to, this one's filthy too, switched down to one veneer wheel instead of the two. It's just the back travel. It's not the post travel. But I personally like a lot of rear travel. And I like my front travel to be really tight on the sensor. And I like the back to swing out more. So to me, it's a lot better to set the veneer. That to their credit, there's still a screw there to set that, but it's just not as easy as it was with the veneer wheel to do it. That was just super easy for me. This is where they started fucking around with the threading. This and the 06 speed, they have the G7 specific thread, which was only for the G7 and 06 speed. It's this fine threaded shank. It's a short shank with this fine thread on it. Hope you can see that. And basically this is a variant in itself, because the A1, they shortened the shank up here a tiny bit more. So this is just its own threading. You see a lot of barrels that are A1 barrels that could be marketed as these, but they're not them. I actually did a video a while ago on me converting an A1 barrel into a G7 or 06 speed barrel, just because A1s kind of suck. But this is the last of the real Angels to me. And honestly, the quality of this versus the regular G7, I feel started slipping. This feels, when you actually take this thing apart fully and you look at some of the machine marks and stuff like that on it, this was a better machine marker than this one was. And eventually I can do a video like proving that out. But even like something as simple as the gap here, just this tolerance gap there versus the tolerance gap on this one, it's just better on that marker here. And this fit actually isn't that good. This one has some problems right now, but yeah, this marker needs work. But it just, the ram especially is where you really notice it. The ram in a G7, if you look at the actual shaft of the ram, it's a better machine finish than the shaft of this ram. Which my problem with that is the ram is the thing that fails in the A1 because it's just machined poorly and it has a weird O-ring, and the finish is bad. It just rips the O-ring up. So that ruins that. This is better. These don't really fail. Very rare these fail. But it's a nicer machine ram in this one. And I honestly feel that, I don't know, it might just be biased, but I feel the G7 just shoot a little bit smoother than the G7 flies. Also might be due to weight. These are a little bit lighter in the front, especially because of the fine threads and the big cut here. But it's what it is. I mean, they're both great. They're both like the pinnacle of Angel. This frame, if you've never played with a frame, one of their 45 frames like this, You play with this. I mean, the ultralight frames and the hourglass frames are really nice feeling, but these are some quality frames, especially with a little bit of a meatier hand. They feel so nice. Whole marker feels so nice, looks so nice, feels so nice. And again, 600 PSI works great with this. Eyes don't need to worry about your hop rate using with it, but I would still almost say just use the rotor. It's just, again, I don't like rotors. I would not play with a rotor if I'm playing like competitively, but just use the rotor. It just solves your headaches as far as making sure a ball's there to shoot fast enough, because these will bounce, these will shoot quick. They will shoot a lot quicker than your standard 10 balls a second you're going to get out of things, unless you cap them, which you can. Another thing I noticed on the G7s, it's G7 flies, like this is all a little bit sharp in comparison. Like they did a better job on the areas where your hands are to like round this stuff off to make it just feel a little nicer. Where this one's a slightly bit sharper in areas that you're actually going to have a hand touch. It's nothing crazy, but you've seen some cues going down where they cut a few more corners with this one, I feel, than this one, the previous generation. But I still think like the A4 Fly is like the pinnacle of like not performance, but the pinnacle of like reliability with an Angel. It was still rebuildable in a way, not the RAM, but you didn't even need to rebuild the RAM. If you blow up an A4 Fly RAM, that's a feat. But those things are just bulletproof markers basically. For an Angel, they're super bulletproof and just great shooters all around. Greatly machined beautifully, just very nicely done all together. Then you have these two. These two are beautiful markers. Shoot great, especially when you tune them up right. Shoot really, really great, like special. Shoot literally special. And definitely winners if you pick one up and go with that. Or the speed versions. The speed versions are nice. The nicest thing about the speed version, you don't have to worry about the batteries. You don't have to worry about recharging. You just throw a 9-volt in. Not the most cost effective, and I realize in modern paintball, people have come around to start like, accepting the battery again. The internal battery is it's a really great idea for a high-end marker, not have to worry about doing 9 volts. But, it started coming around again. But if you just want something that's simple, one of the speeds is a great choice. If you want something that's a little nicer, the G7s are an awesome thing, or the A4s. The A4 Flies especially are great markers. And they'll shoot with your standard tank you're going to be dealing with for the most part, and not worry about anything like that. And I think I covered everything I want to say about these. You notice all Angels had standard style detents. None of them had rubber detents, which is something I really enjoy actually, is the standard detents. Maybe I'm a freak, but they just last a whole lot longer. I don't have to worry about changing my detents out ever. And I'll get into this video more later. I got some more to do on this video. I just want to get something out there sometime this year. And that's it for now. This is Andrew at FloryPB. Leave comments if you like this, subscribe, all that stuff. See you guys.